What's up, guys? I'm back here making another trading video. I changed things up a little bit with my trading, so I wanted to kind of go a little bit farther in depth in that. Some of you guys were asking for that in the TikToks and the live stream, so I'm gonna go a little bit farther in depth with that. I didn't really switch this up until around Wednesday this week, so I'm gonna start there. I'm gonna leave out Monday and Tuesday. This is the stats for this week. Up 350 on the week. Not the best week, but not bad. And I feel very confident with where I'm at right now. So let's go into this. Why did that just change colors? I like it like this. It looks better. All right. So let's start over here on Wednesday. So I'm going to go over kind of all the steps that I'm going to take with this new strategy, okay? So there's a lot of stuff going on here. I have executions on as well, so you're able to see those. This might have been on a higher time frame. Yes, okay. So this is what I'm looking for here, okay? Let me remove some of these lines. Hello? Remove, please. Why? Oh. Okay, yeah, and that's Wednesday. All right. So this is what I'm kind of looking for here, okay? Should be... So I'm incorporating OTE and standard deviation, all right? So it's invisible, question mark? Okay. That's OTE, right? This was Tuesday. Oh, I believe I used it on Tuesday as well, actually. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday we had a banger trade. I believe. I'm just gonna stick with what I was saying and go with Wednesday. So, as you can see, I draw this out from this kind of swing low area, or like just a low up to this high of the move, because what I'm looking for is a retrace. So I want to catch a retrace and then catch the move back up, obviously. So this would be that move down. We're in a 4-hour bullish gap right here. 4-hour bullish gap, obviously right there. Drop down to a lower time frame. Again. Honestly, I think this was it. This low to this high. Yeah, correct. Okay. So this is what I used to signal out for Tuesday. So this was Tuesday's move right here. Obviously played out quite nicely, and this is exactly the zone where it reversed off of right here. Okay, so I'm going to delete this one. This is what we're looking at, okay? So for this, you take this is the low from Tuesday up to London session high from Tuesday, or I guess coming into Wednesday. Low from New York session on Tuesday, high London session high from Wednesday. We're gonna mark the whole range out. We have this as the OTE, which is the optimal trade entry, which is a part of ICT. These are my settings for that, if you want to look at those. Move it over here so you get it all. And then down here, those settings, you can pause it if you'd like. All right. So I'm going to go a little bit further in depth into that. So we're going to start, once you have this zone kind of marked out, what you want to do is kind of drop your time frames to look for a PD array that could be in there. You can see nothing there. Drop down to the 5-minute. Normally it'd be like the 5-minute would be the lowest I would look. So as you can see, one lines up perfectly here. So we have this 5-minute gap right there, lines up very nicely. On the higher time frame, we are still in this bullish gap that I had drawn out over here. We haven't quite like inversed it yet, so we're still technically in it. Also on the 1 hour, we are in this double bullish gap. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. I'm going to drop down to the 5-minute again. We're going to go over this trade a little bit. So market opened over here. We manipulated above this consolidation. So we came up right before market open, dumped a ton into this zone, into our OTE, which is where we were looking for an entry. That's where we wanted to see one. So this is where we entered, obviously not on this 5 minute. Drop down to the 1 minute over here. Next Wednesday. So look for some displacement on the 1 minute. As you can see, we had an inverse fair value gap and a change in state of delivery. And so we entered around over here, around 176. Now this is where things got a little bit annoying. As you saw earlier, I showed my calendar. We had a red day on Wednesday. This was the move that I had drawn out. I don't believe it was all the way up here. I think it might have just been right here. I'll go over how I find my targets in a second, but I believe it was just here. Yeah, because this was some crazy news that took out all my levels. So this was the trade. It was a 2.92 RR. We had gotten in right here at like 176, this area. All because of this inverse fair value gap, change in state of delivery, entered in that. Now, what the mistake I made was I was paying too close of attention onto this 1 minute time frame. And so we had the same setup form again right here, inverse fair value gap, change in state of delivery. I moved my stops up here, all right? You guys can't really see. I moved my stops right to this low. And so we made this push up, and then we came back down, but my stops were here, so I got stopped out for $80 loss. I believe my full loss was 200 or like 240, and then I moved it up here to cut it down to 80. So I was preserving capital. It sounds smart in the long, or like it sounds smart short term, like I don't want to lose this, but I was also extremely confident in the trade. And let me move this to where it actually was. Obviously, the trade played out perfectly. I hit full TP for $97. But because I wanted to save $140, I got stopped out way quicker than I should have. So that was a red day, but overall, like it was a good day. Like I could tell my strategy was working. And I kind of want to go over how I found some targets for this. So I'm going to be something else I'm exploring into is standard deviation. So to do that, I would mark from this low to this high, use standard deviation, which it's not going to show because all these levels are gray. Let me change these colors real quick. I just like the chart colors being gray right now because it's kind of dark out. So yeah. So standard deviation is going to be a manipulation leg. So this was a move down, quickly manipulated by a move up. As you can see, your target zone is the -2, -2.5 area, and you look for liquidity or high time frame PD arrays in that area, in that range. So obviously, the liquidity that lines up with that is right here, which is like pre-market dump. So we have that liquidity. Mark that as your take profit, and boom, it's smacked, just like that, easy. So that was that for Wednesday. Now we're gonna move into Thursday. So this is all once market close, Asia and London session. Now again, starting on a higher time frame. Okay, so this is Thursday right here. Yep. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark out a different like session, a different range. We have this low formed. All right, yeah, this was the low formed. This was the high formed. Put on OTE. Okay, yeah. So then this was on a different right here. All right. No, I think it's a 15-minute then. Yeah, okay, sorry. This is the time frame. This low right here up to this high right here. As you can see, drag this out for you, line it up perfectly. This is the OTE, optimal trade entry. It's the key reversal of this big move right here. So this was the big, we came down, big push up. And so this is where you would look for price to start to reverse, okay? So, again, we have confluences that back this up. We have a 15-minute bullish gap right here, 15-minute bullish gap right here. Also, higher time frame, go to the 1 hour. We have this 1 hour bullish gap. So all we do is wait for price to show us what it wants to do. So we drop down to the 5 minute. Thursday. 5 minute. Here's what we got. We got market open right here. Dumped down a little bit. Came up. Dumped. Also incorporated in this strategy is liquidity sweeps. Normally the liquidity sweep would line up with this. So I believe this was London low over here, which had already been swept out pre-market. And then we came up, didn't quite take out this pre-market high, but we just dumped after that. And then obviously once a session low gets taken out, I'm looking for that reversal move back up. Okay, and then so for this one, same thing, waited for it to get into the OTE range. Then we hop down to the 1 minute. Go over here, look for our setup. This one, inverse fair value gap. I'm sure I probably entered this on the 30-second even. That's normally what I enter my trades on. Okay. Yeah. So 30-second, we had a change in state of delivery up here, right up here after we inverse these gaps. So we entered right here at 332 after we got the change in state. We did some chopping around. Again, after this, I learning from my previous mistakes, I hopped off this low time frame. I'll go over again this entry just so you guys can see this clearly. This is a fair value gap. We eventually inverse the fair value gap and then change the state of delivery right here, and we enter up here. And then your stops would be down here at this low made. Okay, so then I'm only looking at trades on the 5 minute time frame now. And now once we saw this, so let me go over this actually, sorry. In order to get my target for this trade, again, I'm going to use standard deviation. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark out the move that got manipulated. What I also do is mark out like the move that I use as my change in state, which also kind of works. So we're going to mark this out, change it to my standard deviation. Why do those settings not save? Interesting. Let me just change my chart colors then, just to make it a little bit easier. Okay. So yeah, standard deviation. We had this -2, -2.5 in this range right here, which if you look on a higher time frame, was lined up pretty nicely with this all-time high level up here. So I used that as my liquidity. That was my target. Drop down to the 5 minute. And obviously that was smacked. That was this level up here. Oh shoot, that's the wrong day. It was this level up here. But as you can see, I got out of the trade right here because this was another issue I did. I got a little bit scared because of the consolidation, and I started to look at the 1 minute time frame, and I was happy. I mean, not happy, but I kind of like early got out right here. I took out one contract. And then once we had a change in state right here on the 1 minute time frame, I got out fully, which obviously we did dump a little bit, but we still came up and hit full TP up here. So that target stayed true. Never came into drawdown. If I went break even, I would have still been in the trade, which is probably something I'm going to work on, is just going break even, especially when I'm able to target it and like get the initial move. Like I can catch the bottom of it and I can find out where the targets are. It makes it easier. And then something else, I don't know if it was this move specifically, it might be different, but if you mark out the high to the low of this move and use OTE, you can kind of mark out where you would expect some resistancy. So it wasn't exactly in this area, maybe up to here. Or was it this full move? It may be the full move. Yeah, so that kind of lines up with where you would expect some movement, some possible like choppiness, a reversal, or like a retracement level kind of. So there's that. So that's 2 days in a row full TP, but I didn't get the benefits of the full TP because I got out early, you know. So that was annoying. Now we move to Friday. So again, we start in the 1 hour. We're going to find our key retracement level, okay? So we're going to take this low up to this session high. And where's that OTE at? Right here. So this is where I kind of made a mistake. I got a little bit excited. So I entered a long, where was it? Yes, I entered along right here after this change in state above this level. So we had an inverse fair value gap right here, change in state up here, and I entered at this candle close, which was dumb because I wanted to see this level get taken out, and we didn't do that. So that was kind of a premature entry. I shouldn't have done that, but this was like a manipulation move up, and then we dumped down, taking out this. We also formed a 15-minute SMT with ES. I dropped down to the 15-second for this trade, which is something I kind of started learning. Not learning, but like experimenting with. This was not a trade I took. And so I was able to literally catch the bottom of this move. We had a 15-second inverse fair value gap, change in state of delivery right here, entered right at this candle close, and absolutely printed on this one. So that was the close around 352. I have this marked out at 351, but basically the same. Again, for this trade, looked at the 5-minute. Unfortunately, I did it again on this one, and I got out during the chop, which was dumb because I had my stop loss set. Was it here? I think it was somewhere up here. Something like that, right here. I'm not sure, but I had it based off London High. I like thought London High would be a resistance zone or like resistance level. Obviously, it was. I don't really know the reasoning behind it. I think it was just because I was in the trade for like 3 hours, or like 2 hours at that point. So, yeah. So I got out prematurely because I had my stop loss hit because I was trailing it so tightly, and then it ran to full TP. So I could have had 3 full TPs in a row, which I'll go over this standard deviation with you. We have this down here to the move up. Standard deviation. And yeah, so this one, there's some overlapping levels because I think I have another one marked out. But yeah, you just want to go in between the -2, -2.5, -2, -2.5. And you could have targeted higher, but I was just being safe and targeting all-time highs. But yeah, standard deviation literally called out, like, I don't know if it's mathematically or whatever, but that it would at least, it would break all-time highs and go up a little bit higher. So you could have targeted 110 points, 5 RR, and it would have been a great trade. And it would have only taken you 3 hours. So but yeah, so that's kind of my new strategy. It's the same entry model, still like inverse fair value gap, change of state of delivery. But now in order to find these reversals, I'm adding in optimal trade entry, and then for my targets, I'm adding in standard deviation. So if you guys didn't get, I don't think I showed this yet, but these are my standard deviation settings. So I'll move these over here. So we have the 1, 0, -1, -2, -2.5, and -4. So those are just my settings for that. Yeah. But obviously, I'm still new to using this method. But 3 days in a row, 3 full TPs if I stay in the whole time. But sometimes I just can't take staying in a trade that long. It just kind of messes with me. So, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna work on that. Definitely gonna hold into some trades a little bit longer. But as you can see, the account's at $1,000 in profit. We also have this combine, which I'm 800 away from passing, possibly passing on Monday or Tuesday. But yeah, just a great week. I'm really happy with how I traded this week. And I'm just really optimistic for this new strategy and excited to try it out. So again, if you have any questions, make sure to comment down below. Also join the Discord. You can ask me questions in there as well. I'll have that link down below. Follow me on TikTok. It's the same name as on here, Benny Life. And I'm live every weekday from 9 a.m. to about 12, 11:30-ish, depending on how my trading goes. But yeah, make sure to like, and subscribe on here. And I'll see you guys some other time.